Vo Tong fighting tiger on Gunduang Hill is one of the most famous chapters of the famous Chinese novel series, Water Margin, which is very popular and is recited in folklore as a classic. Vo Tong, whose nickname is Practitioner, has high martial arts skills, is ranked 14th out of 108 heroes of Luang Sun Back. The excerpt talks about the talent and courage of the hero. Despite being in danger, he did not lose heart, confident in his strength, and punched the tiger to death. Vo Tong passed nearly 5 miles and reached the foothills. Suddenly he saw a large tree that had lost a piece of its bark, revealing a white mass with lines written on it. Approaching, looking up, saw the following. Recently, on this Gunduang Hill, a very large tiger appeared. It ate many people. So passengers who pass here should also wait for a large gathering and can only cross the hill at 3 hours of snake, horse, goat. Please don't forget and waste your life. Vo Tong smiled and said to himself, "What a ruse of the innkeeper to keep guests staying for the night. He's flashy, but I'm not afraid of this dry toad." Saying that, holding the stick across, it went up the hill slope. At that time, it was the time of then, the crimson sun was slowly descending to the top of the western mountain. Vo Tong people are ready to collect alcohol, one more step up the gentle hillside. Half a mile up, they see a temple worshipping the mountain god that has been eroded and broken. Stepping closer, I saw that in front of the temple door, there was a sheet of writing, printed with brilliant printing. He stopped to read. Duang Duang Kok District announced. On this Gunduang Hill, a big tiger has just appeared, killing many people. Currently, the district is transmitting the translation of the villages with hunters and trappers to catch wild animals, but not yet. Therefore, ordinary tourists who come here should only cross the hill at 3 o'clock, the horse and the goat, and must arrange a meeting for a large number of friends. Besides, during the other 9 hours, if anyone goes alone, he should not cross the hill and be in danger. Now post it for everyone to see. Vo Tong read it all, saw the seal, 5, clearly closed, then believed that the hill had a real tiger. He was about to go back to the inn, but thinking for a moment, suddenly he clicked his tongue and said, "Well, what the hell? Just go straight up the hill." He took a strong step forward. Gradually the alcohol was hot. He pulled his hat down the back of his neck to cool, took the stick under his arm and went up the hill. Turning his head to look to the west, the sun had already gone down, leaving only the sparks of fans. It was October, the nights were long and the days were short, and soon it was dark. He muttered to himself, "Where's the tiger? Unwise. People are shy, afraid of the shadow, afraid of the astral, then no one dares to go up the hill. Just go away once more, the power of the alcohol is strong, too hot." Vo Tong took a clutch in one hand, tucked his shirt in one hand, took off the brake to cool himself, and then walked briskly, advancing through the narrow passageway. The trees were growing wild. Seeing a large smooth green stone block, he erected it. The stick is on the side, leaning over it. Drunk wine, cool wind. He was sleeping coolly, about to take a nap. Suddenly he was startled to hear a rustling sound. A very strong, horrible wind. That wind blew past Vo Tong's place, reeking of a musty smell, and then heard a leaping sound behind him, bang. Fallen leaves, dried leaves rustling. Vo Tong looked back in panic, then. Oh my God! A tiger as big as a buffalo, with bulging eyes and white forehead, appeared out of nowhere. He cried out, "Whoa!" and immediately jumped to the ground, grabbed the stick firmly, and stood next to the stone to protect himself. The tiger scowled at people. It seemed to be hungry for meat, thirsty for blood, hiding its front paws and scratching the ground, crouching to gain momentum, and then jumped up high. Less than a blink of an eye, he stooped down right where Vo Tong stood. But as quickly as lightning, he dodged and promptly shifted himself behind the beast. Being pounced on was so terrible, cold sweat broke out like a bath, alcohol yeast disappeared, he was completely awake. Like a tiger with a short neck, it is difficult to look back, so as soon as it misses its prey, it turns right around, plugs its two hind claws into the ground, and jumps forward to scratch its intestines. But Vo Tong also dodged in time. The evil beast missed the scratch, roaring with a thunderous roar, shaking the mountains. And immediately it raised its tail, hard as a drawn iron rod, slamming to the ground to hit the bang, and then slap the bait. It took a long time to tell, but the matter was quick, and Vo Tong also promptly escaped. The number is that the tiger caught people who were skilled. Before that, killing someone would only be enough to pounce. If you miss it, you will even scratch it with one bite. If the scratch is missed, then the horizontal slap is that the victim has to fall and die, vomiting blood. Now that it uses 3 hits and misses all, its aggressiveness has been reduced by half. It let out a loud roar again, then turned around. Vo Tong's eyes flashed. He caught a glimpse of the evil beast turning and immediately grasped the stick with both hands and lifted it up. Using all his strength, just the head of its skull turned around. He folded his body, and one of them swooped down like heaven. Immediately heard hit, pop, followed by the sound of splitting, sprinkling, rattling, rambling. It turned out that the cone hit a tree branch, broken branch, dry branch and fresh leaf fell to the ground. He quickly grasped the remaining hockey stick and crouched in a defensive stance. The tiger roared again. It went mad, ferociously lunging at another. But Vo Tong jumped back 10 steps to avoid escaping, and fit the beast's front paws into the ground, in front of him. Immediately he let go of the hockey stick, quick as lightning, grasping its head with both hands, pressing it to the ground. He swung himself up to take the weight, pressing with all his strength to make the tiger's mouth sink. The tiger was defeated, struggled to get his head up, but its prey was not light. His whole body was as heavy as a stone, as hard as a piece of steel, but he took all his tendons down and pressed down like a mountain. The evil beast choked on dirt and sand, roaring out of breath, but the struggle was still too strong. Vo Tong had to bend one leg and kick it in the eye. It poked its eyes out with its cold iron paws, it screamed in terror, its 4 claws were as sharp as dozens of sharp knives, and it kept scratching the hilly ground ferociously. Moments later, the ground was dug deep by the beast into a long trench. The yellow earth below was hooked up, covered in heaps on both sides. Vo Tong had the advantage, pressed his mouth firmly into the trench, then his left hand was still firmly grasping the lobster's neck. His right hand was raised, clenched like an iron ball. He kept pulling his head, pulling his ear, and falling like a pounding pig. He took a breath of 60-70 punches, then saw the tiger ooze blood out of his mouth, nose, eyes, ears, red. His left hand gradually lightened, and then he saw the beast lying still, no longer scratching. Only 2 scent holes, it seems to be a bit faded. He then let go, ran to the pine tree, broke his hock, afraid that the tiger wasn't completely dead. He turned back and hit the stick firmly into its skull, listening to the chatter and popping for a while. When he saw that it was really out of breath, he threw the hockey stick, panting and thinking, "Let's try to carry this animal's body down the hill." Thinking and then walking to the pool of blood, reaching out to grab the tiger's carcass but could not carry it. As it turned out, because he used too much strength, killing the tiger, the person was also tired, his limbs almost disintegrated. He returned to the green stone and sat, breathing heavily while thinking, "It's getting dark. Unfortunately, if another child jumps out, I'll die. but I don't have the strength to resist. So we have to try to crawl down the hill, find a place to rest. Tomorrow morning we'll find out." Then he got up, found the felt hat, put it on his head, and then put on the bag, walked through the chaotic trees, up the hillside, and slowly walked back down. Less than half a mile down the road, he suddenly jumped. From the reed grass in front of me, I saw 2 tigers sticking out, black stripes, yellow spots exposed. He cried out, "Oh my! This time, I have to die." After the cry, he suddenly saw 2 tigers crawling, suddenly, standing up straight with their hind legs like people. Vo Tong tried to squint his eyes to look carefully. And he sighed a complete soul. It turned out that it was 2 people dressed as tigers, holding a fork in their hands. Seeing Wu Tong, the 2 of them also exclaimed, "Wow! Oh my God! That guy! You! Who are you? You have swallowed a heart, ate a crocodile liver, drank leopard bile, chewed on a lion's thigh, but alone in the dark as ink, hand in the air. Dare to go over the hill. Ellipsis. Or are you not human? Are you a ghost?" Vo Tong asked again. "Who are you 2? Let me know already." One person said, "We are hunters in this area who are lying here and working together with a few dozen local boys to kill tigers. Seeing him fly down from the hill, we were startled. We didn't understand whether people or ghosts appeared. If he was a human, how could he escape the clutches of that beast?" Vo Tong replied, "I am from Tan Ha district. My surname is Vo. My name is Tong, the second child. Just now, passing by a clearing in the forest, suddenly bumped into a big tiger that jumped out and pounced. I quickly grabbed his head and punched him to death." The 2 hunters stared blankly, in disbelief. One person said, "Afraid he said play. Where is that strange thing? Don't believe it. Just look at the tiger's blood on me." The other 2 widened their eyes and opened their mouths. "How did you beat it?" Vo Tong recounted the incident of fighting the tiger from beginning to end. The 2 hunters, both happy and scared, turned their heads and called out to their companions. Moments later, dozens of people appeared from the darkness, some holding bows and crossbows, others carrying tridents, big knives, long spears, rushing to the gathering. After hearing Vo Tong's story about killing tigers again, they lit the fire, lit 6 or 7 bright torches, followed Vo Tong's footsteps to the top of the hill. When he got there, he saw a big, long tiger lying dead there. The crowd rejoiced exceedingly. 6 or 7 young men gathered around, tied up the tiger's carcass, carried it down the slope with poles, and brought it straight to the village. The villagers flocked to see, rejoiced, full of praise and thanks to the hero surnamed Vo, graciously invited to eat and drink, and gave gold silk and brocade. Duong Kok district officials invited him to the district, praised and rewarded him, and kept him as the first infantry officer to look after the soldiers in the district and take care of the security.